Here's the GOES visible imagery for June 2nd, 2015, and we're looking at North Dakota right here. Now there was a boundary in place approximately oriented like so, and you can see this storm that was oriented along that boundary. During this time period, we were operating in SR-SOR mode, meaning we had 1 minute available imagery. So let's go ahead and look at that 1 minute imagery. You can see our initial storm move off to the east, eventually moved off the boundary and dissipated later in the loop. And then meanwhile we see another area of convection over here along this segment of the boundary. So we look at this storm in particular, we can see an outflow boundary pretty nicely left behind on the western flank of the storm. And as we follow this along, it appears to just stay along that boundary as it moves to the east. However, if we look at this in a little bit more detail, we'll go ahead and loop this very quickly and go back and forth. Watch the storm tops here very closely. And about midway through this loop, you can see the storm tops kind of dissipate right around the time the outflow boundary comes from the western flank of the storm. And then the overshooting tops here, which aren't that impressive early on, begin to reappear, but they appear to jump further to the east. So what happened is this initial storm was undercut by the outflow boundary, and then a new storm went up just east of that along this boundary of interest that we had been following here. And this is something you probably wouldn't be able to detect in, say, 5-minute imagery, or certainly not the 15-minute imagery that you routinely get. So this is something that you would be able to see in the 1-minute imagery, to see these kind of changes taking place. And just to confirm that, if we bring up the radar loop here, you can see our storm of interest is right here. And indeed what happens is that storm, as it moves along to the east right here, it dies. It gets undercut by the outflow boundary. However, a new storm just off to its southeast develops. So this confirms with what we had been seeing here in the visible satellite imagery.